Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the upper tier, and it's Thursday, which means only one thing. Me and the man beside me there, my co-host, the Dazzler. It's Thursday tier talk. How are we, my man?
I'm okay. I'd have been a bit better if Bruno had bothered the bollocks putting that fucking tackle in last night instead of fucking landing it in fucking Casemiro's lap.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It was
I
a, it was
have
a.
to.
What?
It's a really funny situation to be in, and as a United fan, for the last number of years, watching football has been very, very difficult. We didn't know what kind of side was going to show up, what kind of performance we were going to have. You don't know. And then the summer comes, and obviously the first couple of games of the season are tough, and then we get the ball rolling against you boys, and we go on a run and stuff like that. Villa gives a bit of a pace, but in general, it's been very, very good. And of course, then you've the euphoria of the Manchester Derby at the weekend. Just utter euphoria. And life is just great, and you couldn't be any more up for a game last night against Palace. And I'm not joking you. I don't know if I've ever been so frustrated watching a game of football in my life. And I know with everything we've been through, and don't forget, I sat in a stadium and watched us get absolutely rimmed by Liverpool 5-0, right? Absolutely had our asses handed to us. And I had to sit there with my little boy and I had to tell him, listen, kid, sometimes you have to go through hell to get to heaven. That was me line, right? I'm telling a 6-year-old this because I'm going, it's not always going to be this bad. And the sun will shine on a dog's arse once, and you'll remember that day and everything. And he was over the moon with City at the weekend. And last night, we go in 1-0 at half time. You're just thinking, come out in the second half, get a goal, put it to bed, and just get Casemiro off ready for Sunday. And then we've every single touch of the ball in the second half. We own the ball in the second half. 45 minutes, touch, touch, touch. I'm looking at these lads going, there's no intent here. Nobody looks like they want to score a goal. It's all pretty. It's all flicks and tricks. And you're like, there's no
Ghosting through it.
substance here, lads.
Ghosting through it.
Just
Ghosting through it.
tiddling along. And I was talking to our friend from Cheap Heat Productions, Morris, and I was like, we're going to concede here. I can see this. We're going to concede here. Here we go. Right on cue. And I said, why aren't we getting a fucking second goal here? Like I said, Bruno's doing me absolute mallet in, just flicks and tricks and one touches and balls around the corner. And yes, he's asked them to be brave and he's asked them to play a certain way. And I love that. But show me a little bit more substance. We don't even have an attempt on goal in the second half, really. And then, De Gea's made a couple of decent saves in the first half. Then in the second half, it just starts to tick. And then it starts with Casemiro getting the yellow. And then obviously everyone just looked at each other and went, oh, shit. The heads went down a little bit. And then you can see the free kick. Listen, free kick's a great free kick. It's a really good goal, in fairness to the kid. And in the end, I'm looking at this and I'm like, if Aaron Wan-Bissaka doesn't make this last-ditch spider tackle round the side with the right leg, we're going to lose 2-1 here. Now, the only thing I'm skipping in all of this is the glaringly obvious penalty that we should have had, which are we in agreement here? Is that a penalty, or what do you think?
If it was me, I'd be looking for a penalty. I think it's a penalty. I don't think he makes any contact with the ball. So
There's definitely no contact with the ball. I suppose the question is then, is there enough contact to warrant it being a penalty? Now, again, as the commentators will say to you, if this is anywhere on the pitch, do you get a free kick for it? I believe you do.
Well, if you do, then it's a penalty.
Right? So that's translation. There you go.
Yeah.
And that was really frustrating. And I was like, why don't they just look at it? Just go and look at it. Just say to the ref, come and have a butcher's. Have a little look and see what you think. And don't go and look and just give it automatically. Go and look and go, you know what? I'm happy with it. I can let it sit. Because I think from a fan's point of view, if we see him go and look, and he goes and looks and he goes, you know what? He doesn't get contact with the ball, but I don't believe there's enough contact on McTominay to warrant him going down like that. I'm gonna allow it. Then it's a difference of opinion. Okay, blah, blah, blah. But the fact they don't even look at it, you're like, oh, lads, you're killing me here. Is this not what this is for?
There was a bit of a premonition because on the Monday mashup, hang on a second there, our other mascot has just come in. The one that we're
Oh,
mine. Yeah,
oh,
this is MJ from it's 3-2.
oh, it's 3-2.
Yeah, Riyad Mahrez.
Riyad Mahrez. So that's the
But
whole front three have now scored in the last 18 minutes since half
yeah,
time.
yeah, absolutely. I'm not surprising really. But on the Monday mashup, I mentioned that we were having a good chat I was having a good chat with the lads in the chat about the Bruno goal,
Yeah.
the one against City, and I was
Yes.
saying it's all well and good getting that, but these things kind of even themselves out. And I wonder, was that decision a way of evening things out? Maybe do they know that potentially they got it wrong, depending on what way you view it from and stuff like that. And I just wonder, is that their way of evening things out a little bit? You know, like
possibly
we always say
that
these things
shouldn't
even
be
themselves
if
out.
yeah, but if you've made a mistake,
Oh, it should be
as the
case
man
by
would say,
case. Yeah, it
should
should
be
be
case
case.
by case. That
Yeah,
shouldn't be brought into account.
yeah,
Two wrongs don't make a right. Let's say, you know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely, 100%.
But
But Morris is in there. Come on, City. Acers has just told us it's 3-2 as well. Hugo beaten at near post is shocking. Again,
can Acers just roll back a bit there? Because I seem to remember Acers opening his trap there last Thursday about me having to sing Blue Moon on Saturday. Acers, you all right, pal? How did that go down for you? Didn't go that well, did it? Good man. Good man. Now, well done. Like a good little boy. Shut it. Good man.
And I like to put myself out there to say, out of everyone, I called it. I
You sure
called it
did.
right from the start of the week.
You
Morris,
sure
good
did.
result for City win, should make top 4. What? Morris is talking about making top 4. Morris, you want Spurs to beat City tonight. You want to win the league, not make top 4. Acer says it was a stonewall penalty that McTominay won last night, and Ian is joining us tonight as well. What's
good man,
what's Niall?
What's the story,
back,
Niall? Daz is back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Eno.
What's the crack, Niall? Daz is back. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
go.
thanks for joining us. So I suppose we'll get into this Premier League preview, but we've plenty to talk about later in relation to transfers. It went crazy.
Sure did. It was a spicy day today, wasn't it?
Yeah, today was a very spicy day. And you know something? I looked at some of those deals today and I felt a bit left out, saying, we could do a lot worse than that. You know what I mean? Where were we when these were going down? Not a bad option at all. But let's get into our Premier.
Did some of them kind of come from a little bit of left field and you went, whoa, what? What happened here? That there wasn't loads of talk about it, and all of a sudden, boom, deal done. Yeah. You're going, Jesus.
I was sitting here this morning working on paperwork and stuff like that, and at Sky Sports news in the background, and the next thing the news broke about Danny Ings, and it was just one of those moments where I went, stop the paperwork. I know, stop right? Back and go, this is a great deal. Yes, so it was certainly interesting. Some good ones followed on then as well, and some interesting talk coming out as well. But let's get into our Premier League preview. So these are our matches. I put up Betfair's odds there as well for the title at the moment, which is interesting. If you fancy Liverpool, they're a mere 300 to 1. And Chelsea even further. I think Chelsea are 4s or 5s. And I put the table there as well. Yeah, something crazy like that. All right, yeah. Morris back in the comments. Do you think Shelby's injury has hampered a potential move to Napoli or Atletico? Not for Shelby. I think a full fit John Joe Shelby would hamper his move to Napoli or Atletico. But let's start.
I was going to say his conversation probably does that most weeks. Hampers a move anywhere.
Although I have to say now that Italian league do like a ball football.
Do you think when he's going in for a bit of banter with a bird, and he's at the bar and he says to her, "Oh, fucking 2 foot you." Do you reckon like that's how it goes down? Like?
Absolutely. Let's kick off.
And I'll probably miss you.
Absolutely.
Quality.
We'll also keep you updated on a fantastic game at the Etihad at the moment, City and Spurs. It's 3-2 to City. Big comeback. Spurs scoring both goals at the end of the first half. Kulishevsky on 44, Emerson on 45 plus 2. And then City out of the blocks on 51, 53, and 63. Alvarez, Haaland, and Mahrez 3-2. And Ivan Perisic has just left the field to be replaced by Ryan Sessegnon. So that has you bang up to date there now on where we're at. And there's about 71 minutes gone. So let's start then. Saturday, 12:30. Klopp versus Potter, Liverpool versus Chelsea. Kind of feels like a 6-pointer.
This is going to be a big game, and not necessarily in, it's definitely not a big game in the context of the title, but every point counts now for Liverpool and Chelsea in that top 4 race. Any hopes Liverpool and Chelsea have of top 4, and I still do think, they're in with a spin, a 4th spot, but they've got to get something going now. Every game that it goes further makes it less and less likely. And I just feel like, they're gonna have to go on some sort of a run anyway. Don't make it even harder for yourself than it has to be, kind of thing. I suppose Liverpool at home, Chelsea, have been there in the last couple of years and played really, really well. Really, really well. Even when Liverpool were on top form, Chelsea have gone there and played decent football, run lucky not to win a couple of games and stuff like that. I think this has draw written all over it. I really do. I think it has score draw written all over it. I think both sides are leaking goals. It's not going to be a clean sheet fest. I think it will be nip and tuck, but I think I might just say this will be 1-1 in the Chelsea-Liverpool game.
Yeah, interesting you say that. That's what I predicted earlier. I dropped the preview earlier on the channel.
Was it?
And I predicted a 1-1 draw. I said it could be by the odd goal, but probably a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I think 1-1's about right.
Yeah, and I dropped a little pick there as well, a little tip. Mo Salah to score and a 1-1 draw is 28-1. Mo Salah anytime. It's not a bad bet.
Okay.
He likes a goal against Chelsea. So, yeah, I think it'll be a draw as well, which doesn't help either team really, If anything, it helps all the teams above them. So, yeah, not great.
Did we, sorry, just before you go any further, did we have any winners from last week's Beat the Bookie?
We did, didn't we? We did, yeah.
I thought we'd won each.
Yeah, we did. We'll get into that on Beat the Bookie when we come to it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So next up, Bournemouth versus Notts Forest.
Yeah, Forest have really got things going in the last few weeks. We'll probably talk about it later. Still looking for goals. Brought Chris Wood in today from Newcastle. He'll be eligible to play at the weekend because his registration should be done before lunchtime tomorrow. Bournemouth have gone on a little bit of a dip now. They were started off unbelievable under Gary O'Neill and stuff like that. And it's taken a little bit of a slump now. And I think they're struggling for goals and they're still conceding too many. And it's not a good recipe. I think Forest have shored things up a lot. I know the boy Dean Henderson looks like he's possibly out of the weekend. So, that'll make life a little bit more difficult. The boy Wayne Hennessy that comes in to deputise isn't anywhere nearly as good as Henderson. But Forest have started to play some decent football. Obviously picked up a good win the other night as well. Brennan Johnson getting on the score sheet and stuff like that in the FA Cup. Some really, really good stuff from Forest. Cooper has them now getting to where he'd like them to be. And with that in mind, I'm going to go for a Forest win.
Yeah,
I'm going to go 2-1 Forest.
Yeah, it's a good show. He's kind of taken some of the parts out of the team, hasn't he? And he's found a kind of a settled formation with settled personnel, and it's shown now, isn't it? There's a bit of synergy there in the team.
There's a bit of cohesion, and he knows, like, to a certain degree, you're not going to get in any team. You can't get everything all at the same time, but he knows what he's getting from certain parts of the team at certain stages. He knows Henderson's going to give him a good spin every week. He knows he's got work rate and creativity from the boys, Brennan Johnson and Morgan Gibbs-White and stuff like that. The boys in the midfield are putting in a hard shift for him and stuff. Thought the two fullbacks have been very good, which is Serge Aurier and Renan Lodi. And they've been excellent. They really have. And brought a lot to the team. both ways, going forwards and defensively. So yeah, he has them playing well. They're a team I thought would turn things around. I have a little side hustle going on with Morris on that. And yeah, I thought they'd do okay, and they're turning the corner, which is good, you know.
And potentially bringing in more players.
Yeah, I know, right? Like
going,
they've already Chris Wood is their third signing in January.
Yeah,
they brought in a boy. They brought in a boy. I heard a report actually. Would you believe? They brought in a defensive midfielder, a guy called Danilo, a Brazilian kid.
Yeah.
And somebody actually said to me, "Is that Danilo who used to play for City?" And it's not. He's a Brazilian, but he's still at Juve. He went to Juve as part of the João Cancelo move. There was a swap deal and some money and stuff. But this other lad is a younger version. He's a defensive midfielder. And I listened to Tim Vickery, who's the South American football correspondent, that they use from time to time on Sky Sports. Very, very knowledgeable guy. Talks a really good game, I have to say. His knowledge of South American football is phenomenal. He really spoke this kid up. He said, you know what? This kid is a serious, serious footballer. He said that the job he does in there, you know, that breaking things up in front of the back four, he said, like, if this works the way it could work with this kid's ability at Forest, he said he could be huge. He could be a kid that doesn't end up at Forest for very long, because a lot of the other teams he reckons will be extremely interested in this kid. And but he reckons if it could make a huge difference to Forest's chances of survival as well.
Yeah, Morris back in the comments. Forest away, Brighton away, Villa away, treble. Yeah, not too bad. Forest, Brighton, and Villa away. Yeah, could do it all right.
Brighton and Villa. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And Ian's back in the comments. There's a good documentary on the All 4 app about the Italian 90 World Cup. Worth to watch. Good man. Love to hear that. And Acers is back in the comments. Potentially not the right show, but breaking news from the Wall Street Journal: Vincent K. McMahon reaches agreement over settlement on Rita Chattering case. And then the Poirot of our channel, Ian Hodgins, is in. It's Morris, ladies and gentlemen. Get in there, you good thing. Has he uncovered the identity of one Acers? Is it Morris? Is it Morris? Gamble sensibly, folks. We have an ongoing thing here to uncover the identity of one Acers. We're piecing little bits together and stuff like that. So who knows? Let's see what happens. But Ian is nailing his flag to the mast. He reckons Acers is now Morris. So we shall see. Interesting.
I don't know.
If you want to know more on that case and stuff like that, and all, head over to Cheap P Productions podcast. They've a number of really good episodes.
Morris did a couple of great episodes on it. Really did.
Absolutely. Had Rita on, actually, didn't he? He had Rita on, and he also
Rita
had
Chatterton. He did, yeah.
Mancini was on as well, talking about it and stuff like that. Some really interesting stuff on that. Leicester versus Brighton.
Yeah, I suppose, Brighton are really kept on from where they were under Graham Potter, flying the flag and, playing some great football under the Zerbi. Huge move today, obviously, with Trossard leaving the building. That will hurt them. And, whether he was going to be part of the Zerbi's team and, his thoughts going forward, I think it still hurts you. He was one of those players in there that you knew every week, 7, 8 out of 10. He was very, very good. Huge level of creativity. Had a good eye for goal. I think he's a very, very good signing for Arsenal, and at an absolute bargain price, a real good price.
Yeah.
I can't see past Brighton in this game. Leicester have just been horrid lately, really horrid. If Brighton beat Leicester at the weekend, there should be no coming back from this for Rodgers.
I sort of look at it. If Brighton win this, it's like that Rocky saying, "Throw in the towel." Rodgers looks like he's on the ropes as it is and stuff like that. another uppercut or two, and that would be it, I would imagine. Yeah, it's an interesting one with Brighton, isn't it, as well? And we know we'll talk about it in our news as well. But Concedo as well, linked to Chelsea as well. Big offer went in, apparently a verbal offer somewhere in the region of 70 million or something massive. So I'm hoping, because we have to
70
go
million.
something like 70 million. It might even be 75 million.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, something crazy. I said it today and I was going, yeah,
Now,
we're
if
out
I
of that deal.
remember rightly, did they pay 10 from him?
Did they even pay 10 for him?
I think they paid somewhere between 7 and 10 for the boy Caicedo.
It might have been 10 including the add-ons.
It might have been 10 including the sunbed, like the boy's sister, like, you know, the El Gaza case.
Absolutely. But from my point of view, I hope they keep on selling players, because we have to toddle off to the Amex again in the next round of the Cup. So long may the sales continue.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Now let's have a little look here. I'm having a little look here.
The latest update I heard this evening was that Chelsea had made a verbal offer, and it sounded to me, now unless I got it wrong, but it sounded monstrous.
That is just.
Am I Chelsea, right? Are you saying it there?
I'm looking for I'm looking for a fee.
Oh, okay. The original fee. Or the
original fee. Now it's saying undisclosed.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Which means 2 cornetos on a Mars bar.
Are you ready?
This is going to be something ridiculous, is it?
Brighton have signed midfielder Mohamed Caicedo from Ecuadorian side Independiente del Valle.
Yeah.
For 4 million sterling.
And not a sniff of an add-on.
The Seagulls were trying to finalise a deal for the 19-year-old move for a couple of weeks. Now, don't forget, this is a lad that was linked.
When did they sign him? What's the date on that?
The date on that is February 2021. So less than 2 years ago. Or 2 years ago. 2 years ago and 2 weeks.
Next month. Yeah.
So they've gone from £4 million sterling. Now, let's just say he went for 70 million sterling. That's nearly 200% of a markup. Sweet Jesus.
Which is interesting, because what that will do now is one of our news articles tonight, Patrick Vieira has very strong views at the moment on what's going on in the transfer window, and especially with Chelsea, and we'll talk about it a little bit later.
Right.
Back in the comments, Cheehy Productions. Nope, I know how to spell McMahon. Just read it isn't breaking news to me, as Niall can testify. Absolutely. Oh my brother.
I just spit something all over myself. Thanks for that, Morris.
Good Lord. Never take it personally. And Andrew's in the comments. How are you, Andrew? Welcome on board. Hi, lads. Good to see you. Absolutely.
Evening, son.
Evening. Let us know your thoughts, Andrew, on United if you want in the chat. Southampton versus Aston Villa.
So actually, when I was putting my bets together last night, because I did it ahead of schedule, as you know, sent you my bets this morning, and you shit the bed and you realised I'd done my homework a day early. I didn't go near this game because I think Villa are in very good form under Emery, and I think Southampton are playing some great football under the boy Nathan Jones. He has them pressing really high, pressing from the front. They're not giving anybody any time on the ball, and they're doing well. You know, they've had 3 wins in the bounce now, haven't they? You know, they've gone away to Selhurst Park and beaten Palace. They've beaten City at home in the Carabao, and then they've beaten Everton last weekend again. And you're just thinking, I can't bet against Southampton. And with that in mind, I didn't give him my Brighton score, by the way. I'm going to say Brighton 3-1.
Okay.
But I'm going to go 1-1 in the Southampton Villa game. I can't separate them. And I think 1-1's as good as I can do, you know?
What did you make of? I mean, we'll talk about it more in the transfer section, but Ings leaving the building is a strange move, isn't it? Considering Ollie Watkins is kind of struggling. Leon Bailey obviously was in the goals the other day, but again, he's kind of like hasn't really set the world alight, really. So it's
Oh,
a very strange move, isn't it?
yeah, it is. It is somewhat of a strange move. I suppose there's a few things. We spoke about this previously, didn't we? About the Danny Ings, Ollie Watkins conundrum and how things didn't seem to work when both lads were on the pitch. And then that meant playing one and benching one and bringing one on later in games and blah, blah, blah. And I just don't think it worked out very well for Danny Ings at Aston Villa the way it did at Southampton. At Southampton, he was the number one man. He was there to get you goals. You know, you created chances. He even at times created his own chances. He came deep, picked up the ball. You know, very, very good. It didn't work out at Aston Villa. It
I
just
think
didn't work out.
he was hampered with the injuries as well, wasn't he? I mean, in
He
fairness, he'd a
was,
reasonably injury-free staying at Southampton for a while, you know.
yeah, but
And he
even
was
in that
very
sense,
good.
like the issue for me isn't necessarily Ings himself. It was a lot of the formations that he played in at Villa, and it was a lot of the systems because Villa have floundered massively over the last 18 months. So you know, and that's the timeline that Ings has been in the club. He's 18 months in the club. They've played really poor for the last 18 months. He hasn't got a run of the team. There hasn't been free-flowing goals. So it didn't move. It doesn't work out as a move. That's not to say Danny Ings isn't a good player. We know he's a very, very good player. There was huge talk of him at one stage going to City to maybe be an understudy for someone, and also maybe to Spurs to be understudy to Harry Kane. So, you know, we all know Danny Ings is a good footballer. I think Emery's going to go a different way. I know Aston Villa had a bid accepted the other day for a lad in the MLS, a guy by the name of John Duran. The John is spelled Jhon. He's a Colombian international, or he's a Colombian national. Let's say he's a 19-year-old, big physical striker. I watched a little bit of stuff on him yesterday. He came into the MLS as a sort of like they rejuvenated the league with a lot of younger players, because what they didn't want was the league to just become a haven for guys who are finishing their careers.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And the MLS said they wanted to restructure it where there was a certain number of players going to come in at a certain age group. And Duran came in, I think he was at Chicago Fire, And he came in at Chicago Fire and he started scoring goals straight away. And he wasn't expected to. He's 19, he's big, he's physical, he's highly thought of. Maybe he takes Danny Ings' spot, because I think they paid about 17 million from him, so it looks like one in, one out. You now all of a sudden don't have the conundrum of fitting Ings in a team where he doesn't work. You can say to Ollie Watkins, you're my number one, back him all the way. The boy Duran can come off the bench. He's not expecting too much of himself because, again, it's going to take him a little while to get used to the league and stuff like that. And it might make life a little bit easier for Emery, knowing that there's one less guy to keep happy. Do you know what I mean? And at times, that's what it's about, I'm sure. You know, bringing the age profile of the squad down and making sure that, you know, you don't have another guy to answer to in a training session. Gaffer, why am I playing? Gaffer, why am I playing? If you're a younger guy, you don't ask as many questions like that. You're kind of happy to take the bits off the table that fall off it. If you're a guy like Danny Ings and you're sitting at the table, you want a plate in front of you. And if it's not there, you're going to have something to say.
Yeah, it always boggled my mind as well how Danny Ings was number 2. For me, definitely not. I know Ollie Watkins had a decent spell there a while ago and stuff like that, but Danny Ings, if you look at a fit Danny Ings, his consistency I find in the back of the net is incredible.
I think Ings is a much better finisher, and probably even what you would describe as a better footballer. I think the thing that Watkins has gone from is he's got a phenomenal engine on him, and his work rate is unbelievable, and his work rate is, you know, it's substantially better than Ings' work rate. So if you're a guy like Unai Emery and you're coming into a team like Aston Villa and you've got quality in a Jacob Ramsey, or you've got quality in a Leon Bailey, you maybe need players up there who are going to put a shift in. And you're not going to get the shift necessarily from Ings, but you'll get the shift from Watkins. You know, it is a different managers will see it different ways. Some guys will want everyone else around him to do the work and him to just put the ball in the net. Other managers will say, no, let's work from there. So it's just different horses for different courses, isn't it?
Well, Emery definitely will be the work rate guy. We know from his previous
Absolutely.
coaching and stuff like that. Definitely, he believes in the work rate.
Yep.
Morris back in the comments. Nathan Jones' best week since the lead up to WrestleMania 19. Brilliant, Morris. Comment of the week. Absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah. There's a hat in the
He was
post for you, Morris, after that one.
he was hoping for rings at Arsenal. Absolutely, yeah.
And you know what? I
Absolutely.
don't think he's messing when he says that.
No,
I
no,
think
not
he'd
at
have
all.
taken
Not
Ings
at all.
at I think he'd have taken Ings at Arsenal in a heartbeat, because with the amount of chances Arsenal create for a front player, I think Danny Ings is wiping his face after that. He's like, yeah, happy days. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. Be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does at West Ham. And Andrew back in the comments, a poor performance last night. Looking forward to Sunday. Don't think we will lose, but it will be a tight game. Think we need to get Anthony, Rashford, and Garnacho all on form on Sunday to get a result. Yeah, it should be an interesting
4-2 from the Etihad. 4-2.
4-2. There it is.
4-2.
There.
Riyad Mahrez with another for Manchester City. So that's 2 goals and an assist from Mahrez, who has been playing quite well of late for Manchester City.
Yeah, he's outstanding.
Yeah, he sure has been. I suppose the shock of the night from that City game is the game is just over and Kevin De Bruyne still sits on the bench.
Yeah, there seems to be...
Now, I got to say, by the way, it's possibly the best bench I've seen in Premier League history. Did you see the bench?
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
So the bench is, anyone who's not watching it, the bench is Kyle Walker, Ruben Diaz, Calvin Phillips, João Cancelo, Aymeric Laporte. I mean, with Walker and Cancelo, Diaz and Laporte, you've probably got the best back four in the league, right?
Yeah.
Then he's got Calvin Phillips, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, and the sub-keeper. Like, what is that about?
And still came back from 2-0 down to win 4-2.
And the only subs he made were he took off Gundogan and put on Silva, and he took off Rico Lewis and put on Kyle Walker. Brilliant.
And he just took off Haaland and put on Ruben Diaz as well.
Did he? Oh, look, it's just happening here now. Yeah.
That's just for the shithousery.
That's
just for the shithousery, really, more than anything. Yeah, mad. Big game at the weekend, West Ham versus Everton. We were just talking about Danny Ings going in there. This is a last roll of the dice. Talk at the moment is that it could be either manager could easily go here with a bad result.
Yeah, absolutely. So shocked to see West Ham in this position, I have to be honest. If you'd told me Everton at the start of the season, I'd have said, yeah, absolutely. It probably helps my narrative that they only stayed in the league last season because of the man Richarlison. I played that tune for quite a while last year, and he kept them up. And obviously, the crown jewels are sold to Spurs, and Everton are just in the doldrums. They really, really are. They're so poor everywhere on the pitch. Another squad. Now, I think our friend from the Chelsea Roar, Ian Kelly, won't be too happy with me mentioning Everton in the same breath as Chelsea. But another squad that's so poorly put together. That scattergun approach to signing players, and they're not being any sort of a, there's no transfer strategy. We're not buying players of a certain age, a certain profile that bring a certain thing to the team. We're just going to fire the gun and whatever hits we'll take. Like, it's just mental. And they've spent, the Everton board have spent huge money in the last, 5-6 seasons and got absolutely nothing out of it. I'm shocked to see West Ham where they are. I think they're way too good. I think there's a lot of underperforming players there. Declan Rice isn't having a great season. I think the boy Jared Bowen's not having a great season. The boy Paqueta has done well, as I've seen him at times. They've struggled for goals and they've conceded far too many. Again, another recipe for disaster. But this weekend, I see Everton falling again. I think West Ham will get up for this. I think, the fans will be forever blowing bubbles, and I think they'll make it raucous and they'll get behind West
Ings
Ham.
coming in as well will lift the place. Ings coming in will
Ings will
lift
lift it. There's still talk of the boy Terence Moffey. He's playing at Lorient there. He's a striker, very, very good striker, well built sort of a kid, and scored last weekend for Lorient. He's heavily linked with West Ham. West Ham are in talks for him, and the talk is if he comes in, it could be the end of one Mikel Antonio at West Ham. They will apparently listen for offers for Antonio if Moffey comes in, and they'll have Moffey then, and they'll have Scamacca, who, by the way, I really like the kid. I think he's a good footballer. And also Danny Ings, who's an out-and-out goal scorer. So there's a lot of talent in that West Ham team. I wouldn't be shocked, and this has happened before at clubs where they've been struggling, and then things kind of got back to the wall. And the lads dug in and dug deep for their manager, and all of a sudden they went on a run and won 3 or 4 games. That wouldn't shock me with West Ham. Not at all. Because I think they've the ability to do that,
lads, why don't we start up our own team and give the other teams a run for their money? we are potentially working on something, Mark was talking about putting together a charity match, an upper tier 11 versus a Legends 11 of some sort for some charity or something like that, potentially later on in the year. But myself and Dazzler told him we need a bit of time to work on our fitness. Ian said, said he'll work on the formation, team's formation. Yeah, well, it'll be me and Darren in nets.
Yeah, both of us at the same time, and we'll just stand there like that, and we won't concede, and then the other boys will all play up front at the same time. Because I reckon between our boys we've a few glory hunters. What do you think?
Yeah, I reckon so. Yeah, I reckon. Where would you play Morris?
I'd say Morris would be a busy sort of a midfielder, snapping at your heels, but I reckon we'd have Dino and Eno up top, and I reckon there'd be arguments over who got the final touch going into the net and stuff like that, and the lads would only be short of pitching a tent up in the box and everything. That's where I'm going with it.
We'd have Greg. What do you reckon? Coyle, Walsh, and Greg centre defence.
Oh, absolutely. Vidic and Ferdinand.
Ruddock and Tony Adams.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Ted looks like a guy who could play wing back for us.
Yeah, he'd have the fitness all right. Morris back in. Can't imagine Moyes being sacked if they lose, considering Ings was just bought. Unless, of course, he isn't signing the players. Who knows? Coyle's after joining us. Big up, man. Just joining in now. I got held up. Now bother, Coyle. We reckon you do a job for us in central defence if we put a team together.
Absolutely, Coyle.
And Morris back in the comments. Were you watching Stephen Kenny compilations again, Coyle? Spurs strike again.
Jesus.
Ian Kelly's in. He says, I'm in. He wants in.
We thought that, we thought that, pal.
Good stuff. Morris, can I be the sporting director? Bowley.
He's no longer the sporting director. He doesn't make the signings anymore. Told you that, him.
It wouldn't work, Morris, anyway, because we ain't got a shilling to spend.
Not a fucking euro.
Acers back in. West Ham, easy win. Everton players are on their summer holidays already.
I don't think they came back from the summer holidays.
Yeah, maybe they're still on the summer holidays,
Yeah.
Some of them obviously had a taste of Qatar during the World Cup, and their minds are still there. Ian in the comments, it will go number 10, so Dino has the glory.
He'll go number 10. You know the only reason he's going number 10? So he can put the collar up and all like that and be one of them, Give it the L. I'll put the collar up and play as number 10. Dino can have the,
ball into the top corner. Ball into the top corner and just turn and look at the crowd. The Tissier special.
Creative, huh?
The Tissier special. Yeah, interesting. That'd be a good one.
I'm going to go 3-1 West Ham there, by the way.
Nice.
And Danny Ings to get in the score sheet.
Danny Ings to get a hat-trick. Let's go all out, yeah? We love Danny Ings.
I'm gonna throw in a Jared Bowen goal.
Okay. I was thinking Ings with the 3 and Jared with 2 assists. I'm sure David Moyes had lapped that up. Crystal Palace versus Newcastle.
Yeah. I didn't think Palace were great last night, I gotta be honest. the obvious question is then, well, if they weren't great, why didn't you beat them? Because I thought we weren't great at all either. Yeah. And I think Newcastle they're just churning out performances, aren't they?
Yeah.
I got to be honest, right? If I was backing any team using those Betfair odds on the bottom, be Newcastle.
For value.
Well, I'm not backing Arsenal at 5-6. And I'm not backing City at 6-5. I don't think there's enough value in us. So I'd be at Newcastle all day long. I still think Newcastle can... Newcastle, all right, maybe winning it might be a stretch. Newcastle can finish second here. They absolutely could.
Do you reckon with the boy Chris going out, do you reckon there's someone coming in? Because it's not like they're flush on players up front, and they have had their share of injuries.
No, they're certainly not, because if you look at it, you've got the boy Alexander Isak,
only back from injury,
and you've got Callum Wilson. That's injury basically prone. Their two players,
and Sam Maxim, so, and basically.
Well, but Sam Maxim is not a striker. He doesn't play striker. You know, they usually play Miguel Almiron on one side and Joe Linton or Sam Maxima, or there's a blend there. I know he likes to play the boy Jacob Murphy as well. But as for out and out strikers, you've Wilson and you've Isak. Now, if one of them boys is injured, you left with the other one, and you've no one to take off the bench. So I would be shocked if they didn't bring someone in. Will it be on loan? What will it be? I don't know. I know he's spoken a few times at length about wanting to bring in a centre midfielder. Yeah. And that seems to be an area where he's really, really looking to do a bit of work. I know they've been linked with a couple of the boys at Chelsea, Conor Gallagher and Ruben Loftus-Cheek and stuff like that, to play in the midfield. But I think you're right. I think you don't allow Wood to go unless you know you've cover on the way, let's say. Yeah,
the move sounded like he was opening up a space. That's how it felt to me when I heard it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What are you thinking on this Newcastle win?
Yeah, I think Palace can cause you trouble at times. I don't think they caused enough trouble last night. Although, we saw De Gea make some good saves before the goal actually went in. There's one thing I was surprised at, actually, just on Crystal Palace, before we move on. I came in earlier on, I was just having dinner before we kicked off, and they've loaned out the boy Malcolm Ebiowei. Now, this was the kid that United were heavily interested in the summer. This lad came from Derby County and was linked with a couple of different clubs, and eventually did a deal to go to Crystal Palace. He played little or no football at Crystal Palace. A really good footballer, really, really tidy winger, very direct, creative, the whole shooting match. We didn't get our hands on him. I think Spurs might have tried, didn't get their hands on him. He went to Palace, hasn't had a kick, and now he's gone on loan to Hull, which again is a strange one for me, because I don't think Palace are, flush with goals either, and he would have brought something to them. But again, you just think, what's happening there? Are they looking at somebody? I'm going to go Newcastle 2-1 here. No, I'm not. I'm going to go Newcastle 2-0.
2-0. Interesting. 2-0. Morris back in the comments. Bowley pulling events out of the sea. And Coyle's back in. Sorry, man, I have to be centre forward. I was top scorer for years, mate, and had a run with St. Joseph's, Home Farm and St. Pat's. So I wasn't a bad scorer. Centre back, I would be terrible. What you reckon?
There, see?
Morris, get over there and sign that man up. Centre forward.
Stick him inside the 6-yard box. If you know where the goal is, you know where the goal is.
With the facts, and Acer's back in as well. Arsenal versus United has a draw written all over it. I don't think so. I don't think it's a draw. I haven't decided yet what way I'm going to go, but I don't think
guilty as charged, Angela, the collar. I knew it. My thinking, because I obviously sent you my bets, but we'll get to it in a minute. Here's a game I'm really, really looking forward to, way more than I should be, Leeds and Brentford.
Mm.
Leeds we spoke about Leeds last week. Leeds have started to pick up some performances, starting to find the back of the net. Got Patrick Bamford back a couple of weeks ago, got a goal under the belt, got another 2 last night. The boy Nanto, the Italian kid that plays wide on the wing, a serious footballer, by the way, a really good. An Italian international, a full Italian international. They've just broken a transfer record for the boy Rutter up front as well. Jesse Marsh, we know he's got the likes of Tyler Adams. He's got the likes of Mark Rocca, Brennan Aronson in that midfield. There's a couple of nice fullbacks and the keeper. If he could do something with the central defensive pairing at Leeds, they could be all right. They could be respectably 10th or 11th in the league. Really could.
Respectfully 10th or 11th in the league.
Well, I mean, look, if Leeds finished the league in 10th, first spot outside the top 10, would they not go and sing to the Lord Jesus and be thankful with praise? They would. Absolutely, they would.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's respectability for Leeds right now. I think Marsh is still doing a good job. I think he's brought a lot of energy into the team and stuff like that. He likes the game played a certain way. I'm really enjoying him at Leeds, I have to say. I'm also really enjoying Leeds recruitment, because every time they sign someone, especially in that offensive part of the pitch, I just think, Jesus, this kid can play. You know, they've had the boy Jack Harrison, and they've bought the boy Nanto in, and then there's the boy Somerville, and then there's Bamford. There's lots. Rodrigo has got goals. Aronson. It's starting to look all right at Leeds. And, Brentford, we know we're big fans of Brentford, right? And we know what they do. This is probably the game I'll be looking forward to now on Saturday afternoon. I gotta say, this Leeds Brentford one, this will be good. I'll enjoy that one. Can't
Sunday.
pick a winner.
It's a Sunday one.
Is it Sunday?
Yeah, this is Sunday. Paul's heading over to Lauren's boyfriend. He's heading over. He's a Leeds fan. He's heading over to the game. It's on Sunday, as far as I know.
Sorry, hold on.
Yeah.
Can we just go back there a stage?
Yeah.
You let your daughter go out with a Leeds fan.
Listen, I'm not that imposing.
Are you not? No, Jesus Christ!
Because you see, it's good for the banter.
Yeah, I don't need that in my life. I actually said I couldn't pick a winner, and then I realised I think I did Leeds in one of my bets, and I did. So I'm going to say Leeds 3-2.
I'm going to reverse that. I'm going Brentford 3-2. Because I don't care. I don't care who they sign, because I looked at Ayling was it last night? Shocking. I looked at the two boys in central defence, shocking. And I look at Jesse Marsh, and although you're enjoying him and his signings and stuff like that, he's just simply not got the footballing knowledge of Thomas Frank. And that's where they're going to fall down. I think Brentford are going to beat Leeds at the weekend. I think it's going to be 3-2 Brentford. I'm
going 3-2 Leeds. Whoop, whoop, here we go.
Interesting. Me and you'll be lighting up that WhatsApp group.
Don't you know it?
Clip this. Interesting. Man City versus Wolves.
How Man City would it be for them to go 2-0 down at half-time tonight, thump Spurs 4-2, and then fail to beat Wolves on Sunday?
It's not going to happen.
No?
Wolves are absolute pony. Did you see Wolves in the game the other night against us? Until they brought on those two boys in the last 20 minutes, they are absolute pony.
No, I have to respectfully disagree with you there. No, I have to respectfully disagree with you there. Wolves aren't. That wasn't, exactly the Wolves side as it looked. I don't imagine. I think Julian Lopetegui's done a great job at Wolves already. I really do.
He's done a great job of shoring stuff up.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, listen, they're not going to score millions and hundreds and thousands, but they never did. I just don't know what to do with the boy Adama. I really have just...
He should have been left at Barcelona.
Oh my God. I'm watching this guy, and myself and Andrew watched it the other night. He was down the house and the Liverpool game was on. You just watch him and he ghosts past players. Like, just ghosts. Like, they're not even there. And his
He did it. He
pace
did
and
it.
his
He did it the other night against us with Costas, I think it was, and he
a
broke
couple of
through.
times.
He broke through from the right hand side, and he went to take a shot. And I said to Ben, "Don't worry about it. You don't even have to look. The ball ended up on the far side of the pitch. You don't have to
Yeah,
worry about it. He's
like
shocking."
his strength and his pace and his power is genuinely scary. And he goes by defenders and he's so direct. And when he gets the ball, there's a genuine worry for a minute. And you go, Jesus Christ, he's creating something here. And then he gets
No,
about 10 yards from going,
no,
we're all right, we're good here.
no.
Because I seen him take a few shots and you were like, go this way and that
What's he
way.
even doing in training? Does he ever even pick out a player? When do you ever see him pick out a player? Maybe once every 8 weeks he finds a player or something
Do you
like
know
that.
what I would love to see? And again, it shouldn't be that difficult to do. At one stage, at one stage, I was thinking to myself, why doesn't somebody teach Aaron Wan-Bissaka how to cross? And we spoke about this, do you remember?
Yeah.
And I was saying to you, like, how difficult is it to teach a professional footballer a very basic skill? Like, it shouldn't be that difficult, right? And I'm mentioning Wan-Bissaka, obviously, because he's been unbelievable for us since the World Cup. Did you watch him in the City game?
Mm.
Like, at one stage, I thought, has he swapped jerseys with a Brazilian or something? Because it was touches and flicks, and you're like, my God. Now, genuinely, I thought he had a much better game than Bruno did. Way better.
Yeah.
I thought, listen, if there was ever going to be a man of the match from the City game, we have to give it to Fred for sitting on De Bruyne and not letting him have a kick of the ball, right? And we give it to Bruno. But Wan-Bissaka, he's still not there when it comes to the crossing. Is he getting better? Slightly. Why can't someone just say to Adama, just wrap your foot around it? Just bend it. I'm going to give you 2 really large inflatable animals. There's a horse and a cow. And just bend it between these 2 inflatables.
Do you know
right?
what the problem
and just
is? The
put it
problem
into
is,
an area.
yeah, but you know what the problem is? They've trained him to wrap his foot around it, but they've told him that by the way, when we want you to wrap your foot around it, you're not supposed to shoot. So he's wrapping his foot around it, but he's still shooting, and that's why he's hitting the far corner flag or the
Oh,
top of the
God.
stand or something like that. It's shocking. And then the other side of it as well. Have you ever seen a player more pissed off than Ruben Neves? That lad looks fed up with life, fed up to the teeth with life. And
Yeah,
Raul
but
Jimenez is done.
yeah, Jimenez is
Done.
miles off where he needs to be. I'd
Done.
imagine Jimenez's next move is the
Bristol City.
MLS. The MLS. I reckon he goes MLS and just, a little bit closer to home, makes it easy for the international games. Life's good. Maybe the LA Galaxy or something like that, and takes life easy. Jimenez is miles away from where he needs to be. But listen, Wolves are still making some changes and making some good signings, Wolves, as well, by the way. Some very good signings. There's some great business yesterday. We'll talk about that later. But I think Wolves could frustrate City. And I think they could frustrate City greatly.
Don't see it.
I'm going to go 2-1 City, but I'm going to go 2-1 City with a late winner on the clock for City to just keep them alive in this.
I'm going to go over 3.5 goals here. I think City are going to smash these up and they're going to show them for what they are. I'm telling you now, I cannot see it. I just cannot see it. They're so poor. For 45 minutes the other night, they didn't even play. You know what I mean? And I mean, the only shining light is the guy that we love, Daniel Podence. He's the only shining light that we love. We've spoke about it for 2 years now at this stage. We've spoke about that boy.
Yeah, but I think they've way more than that. Like the boy, Aït-Nouri is a smashing footballer. Nathan Collins is doing a good job. Jose Sa is very good. Neves is there. The boy Nunes.
Yeah, but again, and remember what I said. I think fixing up at the back, I think, they've done a good job there. But I think going forward is a major problem at the moment. I think they brought in Nunes and he looks really, really good. The other boy, what's it? Cunha, is it?
Cunha, yeah.
Yeah. Looks really, really good as well and stuff like that. But it's
his biggest issue, the boy Cunha, his biggest issue, The work rate is phenomenal, right? Really good work rate. He's busy.
Yeah.
He's involved in everything. His goal involvement is super low.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't get the goals, doesn't get the assists, and you're thinking these are dropping nearly 50 million on this guy.
Well, he's training with Adama Traore, so should we be surprised? Like,
Jesus
let's
Christ.
go. It does rub off. It does rub
Oh well,
off.
yeah, but it's
You know what I mean?
yeah, but I'm talking about in general in his
Yeah.
career.
It's
His
just what I
his
believe
goal
with that boy
involvement
is. Yeah, but
isn't
I
great.
think with that boy, he's probably a little bit more coachable than Adama. That's the only thing
Oh,
I'd say.
absolutely.
Because
And I
they've been
mean,
trying for
again,
a
his
long time.
work rate. I think the boy Adama, like, just when I just look at him, I just think he's right up there in the upper echelons of frustrating players when you're watching them play football.
Yeah.
Because there's so much he can do. Now, don't forget, and again, when we talk about football players, I know some football players who are really, really good, but didn't have the work rate and the ability and the aptitude and the application, right?
Yeah.
And I know a couple of guys who weren't great, but had all of that work rate, ability, aptitude, all of that, and went really, really far in the game. So, and the boy Adam, he's got so much ability, but at the end of the day, like it's only going to take you so far. And then it's got to be about everything else you do. And he's just miles away. He really is at times.
Our sporting director's back in the comments. Ian in the Mason Mount role. Interesting. And Coyle's back in. Sure was Morris. And Ian's back in. Del Piero, don't be rude, Morris. Acers is back in the comments. Leeds were fantastic last night.
Yeah, they sure were.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure
the boy Nanto. What a screamer for the first.
And Jesse loves signing from the Red Bulls. Yeah, absolutely.
He does, yeah.
And Hogan knows best, Darren. What a show. City will destroy Wolves. Absolutely.
I know, but you said City were going to destroy United, and that didn't happen either. So,
Yeah, but you're not putting United at Wolves, are you?
No, I'm not. But I think, listen, we've spoken about this. I think their biggest problem at Man City is they're playing with 10 men every week. They're playing with 10 men in the same way when United played with Ronaldo up front. They played with 10 men. City are now playing with Haaland up front, and because of how Pep Guardiola wants them to play, and he doesn't want Haaland to come short, he doesn't want him to get involved, doesn't want him to link up play. He literally wants him to be fox in the box poacher there on the end of it. Doesn't want to say, you're playing with 10 men. That's difficult to do week to week.
Hence the difference in them when Alvarez plays, isn't it? Interesting, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Listen,
did we ever think we were going to be talking about possibly Haaland getting dropped because of his lack of work rate, or because he wasn't working in the system?
Interesting. All right, yeah. The man who tore it up in the first few months, all of a sudden, questions being asked. Cheap 8 Morris back in, not enough goals in Wolves, yeah, absolutely. And Lee Gunner calls it Dama the juiced up Iwobi.
Jesus.
Eno's back in the comments as well. Shout out my two friends, the Kearney brothers, Stephen and Darren, big time Liverpool fans and supporters. Shout out to the boys, yeah. Stephen and Darren, how are you?
The boys.
Absolutely. If you want to shout out, drop them in there. It's not a problem. Shout out to, that's the same one again, yeah. So good he named it twice, like New York, huh? So good they named it twice. Ian Kelly, didn't Wolves get robbed against Liverpool the other week? Stop that now, Noiley. They did. They did get robbed against Liverpool, but they didn't get robbed against Liverpool the other night.
In fairness, he did say it at the time, didn't you, Noel?
Yeah, I did.
You did say,
absolutely.
you know.
Yeah. I did at the time. I said we had no right to be still in the FA Cup. If people remember and they're tuning in. Eno back in the comments. Tell Darren Kearney about the Upper Tier podcast. Please subscribe. Yeah, absolutely. We love all that. Share it out there, guys. Get the subscribers going. Morris is on a roll, folks. Morris is on a roll. Morris on a roll. Thursday nights is comedy nights for Morris. It's like we're on stage here at the comedy club or something.
Do you reckon he's at home alone on a Thursday night or something like that? Because he always seems to really get it going. I imagine he's sitting at home, clicking his fingers with a little wife beater on and a little nip in a little glass there or something nice for himself, and he's just like, kapow, kapow. What do you reckon?
Little cowboy hat on like Kurt Angle.
Little, yeah. Pair of cowboy boots and everything.
Absolutely, yeah. That was there.
I think I'm sexy.
Set up Arsenal snaps on him and everything and all. Yeah, can you imagine? Back into the
Quality.
cast right now, just stirring, babe. Absolutely. Arsenal versus Man United. This is the Super Sunday, isn't it?
This is the Super Sunday, yeah. There was obviously, social media was alive last night with the fact that Casemiro got booked and will miss the game. And they spoke to Eric Ten Hag after the game and said, Casemiro's going to miss the game. And he says, yeah, but he says, we already played Arsenal without Casemiro and we beat them 3-1. So what's your problem?
He did look absolutely fed up. You know the interesting dynamic last night, and this will tell you the impact that Casemiro has had. I don't know whether United fans were more upset at the draw or they were at the fact that they were losing Casemiro for a game.
Right.
And that'll tell you the impact he's had,
And guys listen, I'm still on the United forum. Guys absolutely teeing off at Eric Ten Hag. Fucking ridiculous. He was still on the pitch and all. It wasn't ridiculous. It was 1-0. If you take him off and we concede, people want to know, why did you take him off? It was only 1-0. Like, hindsight is wonderful, lads, but don't all be keyboard warriors after the event. Don't be that guy. If you're going to be that guy, put your balls out before kickoff and go, get to 65 minutes, take him off, and whatever happens, right? And just be damned with it. But don't be jumping all over a guy after the event and being like, well, if he'd have taken him off, we'd have still got the draw and we'd have had him on Sunday. Beat Arsenal, blah, blah. Listen, as he said, we beat Arsenal once already. I am not ever, and I'm saying this now. Now, again, hindsight's completely different. We're going to have to talk here next Thursday. I'm obviously at work on Monday. We're going to have to talk here again next Thursday. Arsenal could beat us the weekend. They might well beat us the weekend. But I'm not going into Sunday shaking in my boots playing Arsenal. I'm just not. Would I be, more nervous playing City last weekend? Absolutely. We beat them. Would I be not more nervous going to Anfield to play Liverpool? Absolutely. Would I be more nervous, going to other places to play other teams? 100%. Arsenal, as good as they are, and don't forget, I still think Arsenal are going to win the league. I said this weeks and weeks ago when they went on this. I said, you know what? These could still do this. I think Arsenal could win the league, but I still don't think they're a side I would be in fear of. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going into a game thinking they can absolutely lambaste us here. And they might. And if they do, more power to them. But I'm certainly going in thinking we can beat them on Sunday. With that all said, I'm going for 2-2.
I certainly think we could beat them, but 2-2. Yeah, absolutely. Ian back in the comments.
That must have been funny. Do you know why that must have been funny? My wife just laughed at that. That's how funny that must have been.
Ian back in, loves the Coca-Cola, Morris. Ha ha. And then Coyle's back in the comments as well. After today's bit of business, they might as well hand us the league now. I love it, Coyle. That's what I want to hear. Come out there, take your balls out, put them on the table and put it out there.
That's it, Coyle. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I've been calling for Arsenal fans all season. Get behind the team, enjoy the ride and stuff like that. And then Morris is back in the comments. Careful, Ian, or I'll ring you at 6 a.m.
I'm getting out here.
Tell you, we love our chat, don't we? And Coyle's back in. I hate them scum from Old Trafford. I hope we kick them off the field. Love it. That's what I want. Passion and ambition. That's what we want. Ian, support and subscribe to all football podcasts, yeah, but especially the upper tier. And if you're a Liverpool fan, of course, tune into the Shankly sessions. Ian,
I used to like that. I used to like that. I used to like that fella, Coyle. Now he's calling us scum from Old Trafford. Go easy there now, Coyle.
He's upset. He's upset I'm not getting Mudrick. We had him home and housed last week on the show. We had him all sold in, and next thing Bowley rocked up in the jet with the dough.
You want to tell him? If he thinks Del Boy's crazy, he ain't seen fucking nothing yet.
Ian back in the comments. Haha, I'm off next week. Morris, laugh out loud. Morris, put the phone away and take the prepay out. Get the burner out of the press. Start operating on a different phone. You're in for a fun week. Okay, so you're going with 2-2 on this one.
I'm going with 2-2.
Interesting.
That's what the ballerina said.
I can't avoid either of them. I'm sort of sitting on the fence as well. But you know something? I'm gonna put it out there now. Do you know what I think? I think it could be 2-2, but I think it might go 3-2 either way, and I think a penalty might decide it. That's what I'm thinking. There you go. That's my 2 pence worth. And we round out with the Super Monday night football. Fulham versus Tottenham. Take your credit union book out and get the money out and bet Fulham to win and Mitrovic to score.
And like, don't forget they were full value against Chelsea, weren't they, down the cottage?
Yeah, absolutely.
Full value. Really, really were.
And in
Spurs
theory,
obviously getting
could have
rolled over
beaten
and
Newcastle
tickled.
as well. Could have beaten Newcastle as well.
Absolutely.
For that silly
Yeah.
penalty. Yeah.
I would say did a good job against you guys. Got a draw, right?
Yeah.
We just nicked it. A little bit of magic last game before the World Cup. Remember Garnacho? We nicked really it late on. Really good. Marco Silva's doing a fantastic job. Let's just look at that league table again. That's Fulham up there in 6th place in the league. Marco Silva doing a phenomenal job in there. Want to give a big, big shout out to another ex-United player, Andreas Pereira, who is unbelievable in that Fulham midfield. He has been really, really good this season.
Spurs are on 33, aren't they?
Spurs are on 33. Yeah.
So a
Fulham win would put them ahead. Yeah,
absolutely. That's what I'm thinking there. So that's the.
And you know what? I got to be honest. I have to think Antonio Conte is getting closer to the door.
Interesting.
I have to. I don't think. I think you go in 2-0 up at half time tonight, and he gives a team talk, and Pep gives the team talk, and it's turned around, and obviously it's 4-2 at the end. Then, how does he go in and face them players at full time? You know, surely you go in there, you're 2-0 up at half time, see it out. You know City are going to come out all guns blazing. You can play in the counter-attack. You can be really, really clever about it and push really, really high to stretch the space in the pitch and stuff like that and make it difficult for City that if they don't score and you nick the ball, you've got a great chance here of scoring. How's he go in and look at them boys after the game and just think, you fucking let me down again? You boys let me down. I gotta say, right, and I looked at this. I was on the way home, and I just wanna touch on this for a second because Spurs were going in tonight, obviously against City, and they were looking for a win, which would have lifted them back into the. Would it lifted them back in? No, it wouldn't. They would have stayed just outside the top 4, yeah. But they went in, and this was Spurs lineup, yeah. So their back three. Now, don't forget, like an Antonio Conte football team is 110% built on the solidity of those defenders and the 2 wing backs, yeah?
Yeah. 100%.
And he's gone in with Christian Romero, who is the best of the 3 there, and at times looks so far off it's scary. Eric Dyer, I don't know who allows him into the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or wherever Spurs are playing, but he's so far away from being a footballer, it's fucking scary. And then the boy Ben Davis, who's a left back, who's trying to imitate Luke Shaw, he's doing it really, really badly. It's such a poor back 4. Back 3. He brought off Ben Davis, brought on Clement Longley from Barcelona, obviously, and he coughed up the 4th goal apparently.
Yeah,
and Hugo Lloris
because he's come in at times already and he's been okay.
He's been okay, right. And Hugo, I was going to call him Hugo Boss there for a minute, part of the pun. Hugo Lloris has been absolute dog shit for Spurs in the last 4 weeks since they come back from the World Cup. Absolute dog shit. I don't know what happened to him over there in Qatar. Maybe put his hands on something he shouldn't have. Someone lobbed his fingers off, but he has been so poor. He really has.
Visions of him coming out with those hands on eBay that Chucky
got
the
out. Gloves.
Sons of Anarchy or something like that.
Fuck yeah. Like, God, Jesus Christ, he's been horrific.
Ian's back in the comments. Me and Todd on the gear next week. Morris, get involved. Good Lord, Morris.
Jesus Christ.
Coyle back
Imagine
in. Can't wait for next Thursday, Dazzler. It's a practice match on Sunday for us, bud. Fulham to win. Third best team in London now. Yeah. And Coyle, by the way, if we do get bet, I will be here next Thursday for you, Dazzler, to give me a beat down, mate. Absolutely. Coyle's
Good
always
man,
got
Coyle. That's what we
100%.
like it.
That's what we want.
I won't
Pep
be here
bench
on.
is-
I won't be here on Monday, Coyle. But I'll be here on Thursday, pal. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I'll be here on Monday, no doubt. Pep's bench is better than Tottenham. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of benches
Sure
out there
is.
at the moment, and injury room's better than Tottenham. Maybe Hugo got his hands on the Budweiser over there.
If he did, he was the only fucking one that got his hands on the Budweiser.
You had visions of someone over there holding a pint of Budweiser and then panning back, and just the hands are wrapped around the glass and there's no body or something like that. You know, crazy stuff. Yeah, absolutely. What did you give me on this one? Fulham, Tottenham?
2-1 Fulham.
Mitrovic amongst the goals.
Andreas Pereira with the other.
Andreas Pereira. Maybe with an
Putting
assist. Who's the other guy
another-
there? The man? Bobby Reid, is it?
Bobby Deckard overrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can just imagine Mitrovic in the Undertaker role with the eyes down and the big nails. Remember, he used to hammer the nails into the coffins around the edge of them. Him and Paul Bearer in the workshop, and that's him putting the final nail in Conte's coffin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good boy, Antonio. I won't miss you.
Back in the comments. Good to see you back together, lads. Yeah, absolutely. We love sharing the screen. And Cheap Heat back in again. Morris, hope he wasn't driving too. Good Lord. Yeah, absolutely.
We love sharing the screen. We're not sure how the screen feels about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I had two slides here I wanted to show, but I don't really need to show.
Is it not my time for Beat the Bookie yet? Seems I did my homework this week.
No, not yet. It will be. It's coming up. Don't worry. But two I wanted to show, very interesting ones. We know this is a good one. Eddie Howe. What a job he's done at Newcastle if you compare it to last year. Gone from 19th up to 3rd. Phenomenal.
Look at the goal difference. 45 goals better.
Phenomenal.
And that's only in the goal difference. That doesn't mean how many goals they scored, because don't forget the conceded goals balance out against that.
Yeah, and
so on plus 45 on the aggregate. That's fucking.
And you know how I like patting us on the back on this show, don't you? But this man here,
I sure do.
This man has been sensational, and we were fans of this man from the get-go. Absolutely phenomenal.
And I think we even called him last week, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, and I actually said it as well. I said, there's a man who likes arriving late and putting the ball in the back of the net, and he nearly did it twice last week, but he did get it. So, yeah, absolutely phenomenal. That's an interesting list when you look at that midfield as well, isn't it?
You know what? I was just about to say, you know what? That's a tasty midfield. There's some savage footballers there. Like, are you saying the worst footballer there is the boy Pascal Gross? He's probably the worst there. Like McAllister, Ward-Prowse, and Barnes, Madison, and that. Like, Grouse is right up there. Not a bad footballer at all, but he's probably the worst on that list.
Do you know what's the interesting thing? The interesting thing is there's a lot of midfielders. If I said to you blind going into this, pick me 6 midfielders, you might not necessarily have all those names, and there's a lot of names missing off that list that you would expect to be there that aren't performing.
And here's one other little thing I'll give you to note. Look at the list again and tell me how many games James Madison has missed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he could be running away with this if he could stay fit. Like, absolutely running away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And both with injury and also being benched.
Yeah.
It's a combination of the two under Brendan Rodgers. Right. Beat the bookie. Let's go.
Here we go. I'm going first, Niall. I'm going first.
Absolutely.
Right. Where are we? Okay. First up, little cheeky double. Yeah. The two standout toys of the weekend. Result on both teams to score. I'm going for a draw in the Liverpool-Chelsea game with both teams to score, and a
Yeah.
draw in the United-Arsenal game with both teams to score. And that pays us a tasty 18-1.
Nice. Not too bad.
That's not a bad bet, Niall.
No,
There's not loads
absolutely.
happening. 4 teams to score, 2 draws. That's it. Nice and simple. We like to keep it nice and easy around here. I've gone for an accumulator. I've just gone 4 teams. It's a little bit as it's only 4 teams, typically the odds wouldn't be amazing for an accumulator with 4 teams, because you're usually looking at 1 or 2 of them that are a reasonable price, aren't a reasonable price. But all of these teams aren't a bad price now, I have to say. I've gone Forest away to Bournemouth. I've gone West Ham at home against Everton. I got Newcastle away at Palace, and I got Leeds at home to Brentford.
Last one I'll let you down. The others are all good.
And there's another, and that'll give you 20-1. Yeah.
You know when we're talking about gambling, you should never bet
Yes.
against Ivan Toney. I'm just saying that. I'm just putting that out there.
I've all the faith in the world with Liam Cooper there. I feel it.
Absolutely. Ivan Toney, 21 penalties out of 21. Leeds like coughing them up.
And you know what? His routine is scary how good it is, and he never looks like he's going to miss.
Did you see the interview after the game
personified.
the other night? Did you see the interview after the game the other night? I think Dwight Gale asked him, or one of them asked him what was his thinking for a penalty. I spoke about it on the matchup, and he said,
Right.
I don't think about it. He says, I run up and I decide when I see which way the keeper's going. Great answer. Not giving anything away. Nothing. So you have no idea what he's going to do. He's not going to say, I always go left or go right or whatever. This is my routine.
Yeah.
He says, I don't think of anything. I run up as soon as I see the keeper, then I decide. Brilliant.
I suppose there's pluses and minuses to that. He's being a little bit reactive then. And at times when you're a little bit reactive, it's not as good as if you can be proactive about a situation. But in the same voice, he hasn't missed yet, has he?
Would you argue with him? Wouldn't you put him forward? He'd be first on your list, wouldn't he?
He'd be up there.
Ace is back in the comments. Double wide, double deep casket for Conte. I don't know. Conte's the kind of list where you'd maybe bury him in a shoebox, wouldn't you?
I was going to say I'd put him in a double-decker wrapper and he'd be all right, the little swine. And my last one of the evening, Niall, is it's my favourite bet of the week. You know what's coming, Niall. It's the result I'm about to score. I got Brighton away at Leicester. West Ham at home to Everton.
Yeah.
And I'm going with Leeds against Brentford.
Interesting.
Result I'm about to score in all 3 games. 55-1.
I'm shocked Forest didn't find its way into any of your bets.
No. And you know what? They weren't miles away. Oh, did I not back Forest in the first game, in the second bet?
Did you? I'm not too sure. I don't think you did you?
I'll tell you now. I can't remember, but I'll tell you now. Forest, West Ham, Newcastle, and Leeds. They sure did, you know.
Brilliant. Excellent. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Kyle back in the comments. Lads, yous are legends, and this is a great show. I'd be here every Thursday to watch you guys. No, my dad is a Liverpool fan all his life. He loves your Shankly show, mate. Brilliant, Kyle. Appreciate it. Big up to your dad. Tell him I said thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And now, down with that sort of thing. And Kyle, I hated him at the start. He has made me eat my words. He's outstanding. That's about Martin.
He's talking about Odegaard. Yeah.
Absolutely. What's the story, Ian? And GP, he did, yep. And Ian's back in again. Why are we making wrestling references? Because that's what we do on this show. That's what we do, my
sure
friend.
Is.
We're always going to find our way in here one way or another.
What have you got for me, Niall?
Yeah, I'll give you mine. It's
give
interesting.
Me what you have.
It's interesting. I did for the Liverpool Chelsea game and the Arsenal United game. I did similar to yourself, but I did 2 bet builders. Looking lovely.
Nice.
Like your man, what's his name? Paulie D out of Jersey Shore. You'll have that quiff like JR. So my bet builder for the Liverpool game, Liverpool Chelsea, I did a draw, Salah anytime, over 2.5 goals, and both teams to score 15-4, 4-1. Not great odds. Hard to find. And then as I said earlier, I gave you the draw and Mo Salah anytime is about 28-1 is a good bet as well.
That's not a bad bet. Yeah, I like that one actually.
Then I picked out four aways. I picked out for Saturday. So I went with Forest. I went with Forest, Brighton, Villa, and Newcastle.
Oh, very good.
23-1. Not too bad. Not
too shabby, Niall.
Yeah. And then I mentioned earlier,
I'd rather have a 23-1 winner than a 40-1 loser.
Absolutely. And then I went with the final one as a bet builder for the Arsenal United game. So I went a draw. I went with a draw, so I agreed with you on that one. Over 2.5
both to score.
Goals. Yeah, both teams to score. And I rounded out the bet builder with a penalty scored. And that gave me 20-1.
Okay. How good would you be if you got the first three parts of that and someone missed a penalty?
Yeah. Don't know.
If someone misses a penalty, it won't be an Arsenal player. Because David De Gea can't save penalties, God bless him.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely,
Jesus. Yeah. We missed one there last season, didn't we?
Yeah, true. Yeah, so that's what I did. They were the four that I picked out.
Lovely.
There wasn't it was an interesting one for betting this week, and as we say, always gamble responsibly, people. Don't be blowing your money off to the bookies or anything like that, do it as a bit of fun.
Always gamble responsibly, unless you've got the place in the church and you can just do what you want with a 10.
Morris back in the comments. John Joe Shelby is currently being treated at a local medical facility.
Goldberg kicked him in the head.
Darren, what are those?
It was a stroke of luck.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Calm the hell, man! I'm
Lord, man. Speaking of caskets,
good
Lord,
that was grim, wasn't it?
We'll run down for about 5 minutes through some quick news, and then we'll finish out with that. Yeah,
let's go to the transfer zone.
Yeah, we've kind of spoke about some of them today already, haven't we? We spoke about things at West Ham. West Ham considering a move for Harry Maguire on loan was an interesting one that came out yesterday.
Yeah, it came out, but there's no substance in it. That's absolutely not happening.
And if it happened to be no substance in it anyway, some people would say.
Harry Maguire is not leaving Man United on loan. United aren't going to sanction a move like that. It's just not going to happen. If he is leaving the club, and I do believe he'll leave the club in the summer, he'll leave it for Doré May. Cash is king. Other than that, you're sitting there. Would
you do maybe a loan with an obligation to buy? Too risky on him, is it?
Yeah, it is. Someone's going to get to see how he plays then, and I think you've got to try and do the deal without them seeing how he plays. I think that's, we paid 80 million for him.
Send us over his highlight reel, and they're all images of him in Leicester jerseys.
If we could just get 40 million for him, which is half of what we paid, wash our hands of him, get rid of him, pat him on the back, buy him a Snickers, and fucking walk him there yourself on all fours. Just get rid of the guy. God bless him.
Yeah, absolutely. The boy Garnacho close to signing a new deal at Man United. That's a foregone conclusion, isn't it?
It's not foregone just yet. We're getting closer to it. I don't know if you saw how much the deal is reputedly worth, did you?
No.
Well, okay. So he's an 18, 19-year-old kid who is also a full Argentinian international and has come to fruition and to the forefront this year with goals and assists in big games for us and done very, very well. What does he currently get paid, and what do you think the offer on the table is?
I'd say best case at the moment he's probably on a couple of grand or something like that. Is he? He might even be still on the severance package you give them at the academy or something like that. Is he?
7. He's on 7 grand
at the moment.
A week at the minute. At the moment, okay. 7 grand a week. Now, don't forget, he come on at the weekend and changed the game in the derby, right?
Yeah.
So we have to give the kid his props here as well. I'm not in for blowing smoke up kids' arse, but he did a job when he came on. He was excellent. He set up the goal for Rashford very, very well and was direct when we needed someone to be direct. And what do you think the offer on the table was? The most recent offer, which he turned down, although now we seem to be getting closer.
75.
So the first offer was 20.
20.
20.
Okay. Wouldn't be like United to insult people, would
it? and it looks like he's settling for 30, but with some quite large bonus structures.
Okay.
Where if he plays, if he creates, if he scores, that's where he'll make his money. But if he doesn't play and he doesn't perform, he's going to get 30 bags a week.
Is this a lot of the new structure that they have been talking about, the United coming in? The what were they calling it? The Rashford law, or no, the Ronaldo rule.
The Ronaldo rule, yeah.
If I was the boy, would I be saying to him, pal, you need to get a new agent?
I said, like, listen, I spoke about this obviously with a few United lads, and I was like, listen, what's 60, 70 grand? Exactly what you said. Give him 70 grand a week. Sign him on a 5-year deal. Tell him, if it goes well, 18 months into the deal, we'll talk again. Right? Because at that stage, if things are going well in 18 months for this kid, he's one of the best players on the planet. Because from where he is now, and if things went well, that's where I would put him, right?
Yeah.
And I said 70 grand, and then it looks like he's signing for 30. Now, I do believe that the structure in place, the bonus structure, is very hefty. It would want to be. It would need to be.
But then I suppose the other argument is, if you look at Ten Hag and how he's developing the team and bringing players in and stuff like that, the boy might find himself. I don't think it'll happen because I think he's a very good player with great potential.
Yeah,
he could find himself semi-frozen out or something like that. You know what I mean? And then what? Like you're not getting near any of that. That's the risk.
No, but I suppose it's it's a risk you take, isn't it?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a risk I'd take. I'd be telling the agent you need to cop on. Acers, Didier Deschamps took Hugo Lloris to the side when France squad returned to Paris to tell him you're fired. Morris back in the comments. Trossard will be good backup to El Neni and Lokonga. Leandro Trossard ain't going to be a backup to anyone.
Just on what Acer said, I don't believe Hugo Lloris plays in the World Cup if the boy Mike Maignan is fit. He had a phenomenal season at AC Milan, was involved in them winning the title and stuff like that. And I don't think it's something that I don't think Lloris would have played if Maignan was fit.
Interesting. Good point, though. Yeah, absolutely. Acers, Darren, what's your thoughts on the Jim Ratcliffe offer to Bayern United or entering the bidding, as far as I know?
I'd prefer if it was a guy with a tea towel on his head. Jim Ratcliffe tried to buy Chelsea. He's apparently a boyhood Man United fan who tried to buy Chelsea. He put an offer on the table, very close to what it went for, but it was late it was a bit later than the deadline, and he also has he had some season tickets to Chelsea as well when he was living in West London. Listen, he's got money. He hasn't got money. Now, when I say that, people are going to think, what do you mean he hasn't got money? He's apparently worth 15 billion. Yeah. 15 billion. The United deal is going to cost him somewhere in the middle, but somewhere between 5 and 7 billion.
Yeah.
Right? That's where it's going to be. That's half his fortune gone, let's say. Right? Now I know it's going to be structured in a way where his personal wealth isn't harmed, and he goes under in EOS and all this shit, whatever.
Yeah.
He's still got some money. I don't want that. I really don't. I want, Prince Khalid.
Oceans of it.
I want Prince Khalid and his camel walking down Sir Matt Busby Way holding a fucking nose bag of cash. That's all I
Yeah.
want.
You want
I
you want
to
a 40-foot container backing up, as we said at Newcastle, with lads with
absolutely.
shoveling money out. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and you know, people are like, oh, he's a boyhood fan. Surely you want him to own the club and all. No, I don't. I absolutely don't. Do you know the only thing that matters to me where Manchester United concerned? And you know this, Niall. I
Winning.
just want us to win. I don't give a
Yeah,
fuck about anything else. I don't care
yeah,
who owns it. I don't care how much they fucking spend on the club. I don't care fucking what religion they are, what race, what creed. I just want the bloke standing there in the United jersey with the little devils on it to be lifting trophies. Other than that, I couldn't give a fiddler's.
yeah,
That's all I want.
yeah, yeah. We'd soon get over all the other issues, wouldn't
I
we?
could get over anything. I told you this is, you know, we are a-okay with this.
Absolutely. Morris back in the comments. Saka on 33 grand a week. Yeah, that needs fixing up big time before his
Absolutely.
head is turned.
But what?
And Ace
But
is
what
back in.
about?
Darren
Yeah,
wants crown jewel
absolutely.
at Old Trafford. Absolutely.
100%. I want one of them big two-seater sofas over by the corner flag, and when the breaking glass hits, I want to get my cans of Fanta in the air, boom like this, and fucking and raise hell, man. Absolutely.
Oh
What about their
God.
human rights? I couldn't give a flying fuck. And don't forget, we were all really worried about the World Cup because it was going to Qatar, and they were bad people because they have funny laws over in that country because they're Muslims and they stone each other. And then there's really bad things they do to the workmen over there. You know what happened? We started playing football and everybody fucking forgot. Everybody forgot everything. And we're still talking about, oh my God, it's the best World Cup ever. You know what? Fucking was the best World Cup ever. Absolutely it was. And do I give a fuck? You know, whatever happened before it or during it or after it? No, I don't. I couldn't give a shit. I'm a football fan. Give me football. Fuck off. Oh, they're human rights. Fuck off.
I've visions of you going into the mega store and that the red devil in the jersey, the little plush toy that you buy, it's going to be replaced with a camel or something in a United jersey or something like that, and you'll be buying handfuls of them and stuff like that.
A
Crazy.
handfuls of them. You know what I'm like. I'll need an extra suitcase to get that shit home from there. Fucking hell.
Oh God. Unreal. Unreal. Ian back in. Shout out Sean Bradshaw. I hope you've subscribed to the Upper Tier podcast. Join the banter on the live chat. Yeah, absolutely, Sean. If you can join us, it'd be great to have you on board. What did I want to talk about? Patrick Vieira. I mentioned him earlier. Patrick Vieira. Patrick Vieira has come out and said he fears Chelsea's spending could distort the transfer market and make it even harder for Crystal Palace to sign players from abroad. Despite admitting it is good for the quality of the Premier League. What you thinking on that? Now, I don't think Crystal Palace will be in for the same players that Chelsea will be in for anyway.
I don't know. I think at the upper level, certainly not. But at the lower level, quite possibly.
Up in the upper tier,
No, well, I mean, listen, they're not going to spend 80 or 90 million on a player.
Oh.
But if you're talking about, you know, the boy Noni that they've signed tonight from PSV, he's 33 million. Could I see Palace spending that on a player? Absolutely, I could.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you could, and that's the type of player. Listen, I don't think if Palace tried to sign him, they pay 33 million. I don't believe that.
We don't have to worry about that, Morris.
We're all good, Morris. Don't worry about that, man.
Good. Don't worry about that. If you want to send us over a few quid,
yeah. And
you're away.
I think if Palace go in for the boy Noni at PSV, they probably pay somewhere between 20 and 25 million. Chelsea are always going to pay a tax on things the same way United are. You know, it does seem like Liverpool and Arsenal are the only big teams to get away with not paying these extorted transfer prices. I don't know what you guys are doing in the market. But Chelsea and United always end up with their pants around their ankles, wandering around the car park at 4 a.m, looking for someone or something, and you're like, "Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. It'll do."
You tell everyone you're rich. It's the worst thing in the world. You tell everyone you're rich.
You know, Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Well,
Um,
I think Vieira is not wrong, you know. And listen, I watched something the other day. It was an economist talking about Chelsea spending as well. Because if you watch Sky Sports long enough during the day, you'd be amazed the plethora of talent they have on from all different walks of life, you know. We usually get shown the highlights of Jason McAteer arguing with someone over, I don't know about it, Harry. You're thinking, Jesus Christ, we had some really highly educated guy here from the financial school on 20 minutes ago. Where's his clip?
mm,
And this guy was talking about obviously stretching the financial fair play out over the course of the contract.
yeah.
And this is why Chelsea have gone in, and it's something they've done massively in American sports, that they
Mm.
pay the length of the contract over a longer term.
Yeah, like 10 years they're trying to put in there, like decades now at this stage. Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously I think the Buddy Ashilla one was a 7-year deal.
Mm.
So the money they paid for Hill can distort the accounts for 7 years. Now I think they paid about 38 million for the kid, right? So if you chop that down, they're paying 5 million for him a year for 7 years. Well, all of a sudden that doesn't look such a bad deal, right? And they did the
Mm.
same thing with the boy Mudrick. Yes, it's nearly 100 million, 88 point whatever it was sterling, and flips it to 100 million euros. But again, he signed an 8.5 year deal.
Mm.
So when you stretch it all out, all of a sudden you're going, well, actually, it's 10 million a year. So now we've two of these boys that we spent nearly 150 million euros on, and it's costing us 15 million a
15 a year.
year
Yeah.
over the right. So
Yeah.
everyone that's come out and gone, oh, but Chelsea, they're breaking the rules. They're not breaking the rules.
Mm.
They're adapting the rules to a different model, a model which Todd Bowley is very used to because it's a model they use quite a lot in the States.
Mm.
Now,
Yeah.
I like the idea of what they're doing. I still don't think their recruitment department have come back after COVID yet or something, because I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I'd
It's
say the issue for me is, and I mentioned it to Ian last night, it's all well and good stretching out the transfer fee and stuff like that. But where you get caught now is they're also including the wages. And it's
yeah,
carrying that wages. And I said the fear is if you sign an 8.5 year contract with a Mudrick and he doesn't work out, for argument's sake. Now we know he will, he's a fabulous baller. But if you get
absolutely,
someone in that doesn't work out, or if you were to sign, say, for example, an Aubameyang to 8 years or something like that, and you're carrying the weight of that kind of cash in terms of wages, that's where it kind of ratchets up if you start rallying that up as well,
absolutely.
Mm.
And the other thing, and I looked at this as well. They broke it down very well on Sky Sports. Um, we should have a little PP in the corner here for product placement when we talk about Sky Sports. Um, they did a depth chart on the Chelsea squad, and you're looking at this and you're going, "What the fuck is going on here?" You know, every position had bare minimum 3 players, most of which they'd paid absolute wedge for, like wedge,
Yeah.
you know. And with what comes in January, player wise, and then if you look at what returns to Chelsea in the summer, don't forget we're not even discussing Romelu Lukaku, right? We're not even talking about Romelu Lukaku,
Mm.
and some of the other players that they have out on loan. Chelsea could have a senior squad back in the summer of somewhere between 40 and 50 senior pros at the club. Now, this isn't academy graduates. This is a squad that's been put together using absolute wedge.
Mm.
Wedge. Guys like Lukaku not getting a game at 90 million quid. Obviously the boy Felix has come in now. They've paid nearly 16 million euros for a loan for Joe Felix. Crazy money. Aubameyang, Brozier, Havertz, Mount, Ziyech, Pulisic,
Mm.
Callum Hudson-Odoi,
Well,
still
see,
in
that was kind
Germany.
of the thing I was alluding to. That, like, when things are going really,
Yeah,
really well and you're successful and you're winning Champions Leagues and you're doing that kind of thing, all that gets smothered. It's all good. It only comes to the forefront when you're struggling and you need to reintroduce talent and you need to freshen up and stuff like that. That's when things really get looked at. And that's where
Yep.
that's where I was really coming from and stuff like that. That it's all well and good if you're, say, bringing in a player for 35 million over 7 years and it's 5 million a year the way they amortize it in the accounts. But that's all well and good. But if you're dropping another 10 million in wages on top of that as well, it kind of distorts it a little bit. And if you have 10, 12, 15 of them, it ratchets it up greatly, you know. And these may not even be your starting 11, you know what I mean, in the way that they do.
In most cases, they're not.
So it'll be interesting to see how that progresses.
Scary. Absolutely.
But listen,
scary.
we know the businessman that Todd Bowley is. I mean, he's not stupid to financial fair play. He knows what he's doing, and he knows that he's very clever in the way that he's doing stuff, as you said, with the new system that's coming in. And I think at the moment, isn't it? At the moment, they're going to reduce it by 10% over the next 3 years. So starting at 100 and ratcheting down to the lowest, I think it's going to be a 70 of your revenue. 70% or something like that. So, but it also includes your amortized transfer fees and your wage bill.
Your amortization. So, that's right.
Yeah. So it can be. I'm not as worried about the transfer fees and the way they can blow them out as I am about the wage bill, which is quite excessive. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Isn't that why we've just apparently offered Garnacho 30 grand a week? 30 grand a week. Fucking jog on. Jog on. My God.
If it's the sack the da.
I will, honest to God, I will go in and do that deal for you for nothing, just because I don't want you to get absolutely, taken there. That's horrific. That really is.
Morris rounds us out with the comments tonight saying, I like what they're doing. Absolutely.
Which part, Morris?
The bit where they're spending plenty of money.
Yeah, fucking Todd really backed the truck up, didn't he? The 40-foot.
Morris reckoned that's an Arsenal wage offer.
Yeah, 40 million and £1.
Imagine we're thinking Garnacho on the low side, and we're thinking he's been offered nearly the same money that Saka's on at Arsenal.
That Saka's on.
Yeah, Morris was saying Saka's on 33.
Saka's been Arsenal's best player for what, 2 full seasons now? Or thereabouts?
Fully established England international. So much for that. So much for that English tax. So much for that English tax. Be interesting to see if
33 bags. He's got to be on wedge for his goals and assists, though.
I don't know. It depends
on when the contract. And the kid always, he's always fit. He's playing minutes, man, as well.
And resilient, rarely injured, He can take a bang as well on a pitch.
He takes a bang, he gets up and he's like, fuck it, I'm still going. They only pay me 33 grand a week here, but I get 40 for a goal, so I ain't leaving till I've at least put 2 with him in.
Yeah, there's a big deal on his table, absolutely, and well deserved and well earned.
We spoke about it 12 months ago when Liverpool and United were sniffing around him. Because obviously we knew at that stage the deal wasn't done. I'd take your hand off for
Still not done. Still not done. Anything
would take your hand off. He would do great things on the right-hand side with Marcus Rashford on the left there. Great things.
Imagine the uproar if Bowley coasted in and signed him as well. Just imagine.
God.
Good Lord.
We'll swap your Hakim Ziyech and a packet of peanuts. Deal. Oh, God.
Deal.
Jesus. Oh, no. Say it isn't so. Yeah, but we got Ziyech at 25 grand a week, so we knocked 7 grand off the wage bill.
And the peanuts were dry roasted. It's nice. Absolutely.
Just on peanuts before we go.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to buy peanuts? Have you gone to buy peanuts lately? No.
No.
I went to buy peanuts the other day, right?
Yeah.
There must have been 412 different varieties. It's like, I just want a packet of peanuts.
Peanut check.
All I want is a packet of peanuts. That's it. That's all I wanted was a packet of peanuts.
They handed you a menu.
A menu for a packet of peanuts. I was like, lads, come on now. We don't need to go here. Not for a packet of bleeding peanuts. A menu. My God. I give up. Hang on. What has me wife got here beside me? Look, hang on. I'm gonna throw her out under the bus here, will I?
Go on.
I throw her under the bus here. Hang on, I get this. What kind of nuts does my wife eat? Hang on. Let's have a look here. Salted caramel and chocolate nut mix.
That's the healthy and the unhealthy all rolled into one.
Telling you.
Why
You
hold, Nick?
gotta be a high roller to be eating peanuts like that, don't you?
Anything with
Jesus
salted
Christ.
caramel, you're on wedge. If you're going salted caramel, you're on wedge. Anyway, brilliant show as always. We always run out of time and don't get around to all the news, but we will do. But yeah, fabulous show again as always. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Really appreciate it. Smash the like on the video on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Share the channel as well if you could, people, and get people liking and sharing and subscribing. Try and grow the community. I will be back on Saturday with a match reaction and player ratings to the Liverpool-Chelsea game. And you never know.
If United win, I might even be in for a match reaction myself.
We might have to do a match reaction. Yeah, we might get Coyle and Dell and all on. We might do a match reaction maybe on Sunday evening as well. Let's see how it goes. Depends on the mood.
If Arsenal win, I won't be here till Thursday. If United win, I'll say 6:30.
Brilliant. Until next time, folks. Absolute pleasure. Cheers.